Okay. I was just, okay, well, we'll start the meeting then. Today is March 22nd. This is the Bedford Township Park Commission. Call to order. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
To the flag,
the
the United States of
United States
America,
of America.
one nation,
And to the republic for which it stands one nation,
under
under
God,
God, indivisible, with liberty and
justice for all.
justice for all. All right. Hi, Chaz.
Hello.
All right. Approval of the agenda. Does anybody want to add anything? We've got quite a lengthy agenda. Anything I missed?
I think I do want to add something. I apologize. Especially, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I can hear you, Aaron. Go ahead.
So my kids are in public school in Bedford, and of course I even made a document with a bunch of stuff that mentions our next meeting, April 5th. But I was wondering if maybe we could reschedule Monday, April 5th, because it's spring break, and hopefully we're going to be somewhere, our family, and I think other families might here on the board. And we were going to do it live. I certainly can't do it live. I might be able to call in from Florida or otherwhere, but otherwise, but has spring break for public school time ever been rescheduled in the past, Carol? What do you think? Am I out of line? Or
No, well,
would
we
do
should
that?
be meeting that second Monday,
I won't be there.
which wouldn't be the 5th. It would be what, the 12th?
We're supposed to be the 5th, I believe, right? Our next
No,
meeting is
it's
supposed to be the
second-
5th.
It's the second and
It's always
fourth-
the second
and fourth Mondays.
Monday.
Then I'm off, so
Yeah.
ignore me. Never mind. Okay.
So, I mean, you
Okay.
still might be on spring break though, right?
No, we should be back.
You
I
should be
guess.
back.
No, the kids start the 11th or whatever day that is.
Oh.
Well,
Okay,
that's the
all
day
right,
they're back.
so you-
So we're okay. I'm got my weeks wrong. Never mind. Thank you. Good.
All right, that's right. So we should be. All right, can I have a motion to approve the agenda or any additions? Anybody else have anything they want to add?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes of the March 8th Park Board meeting. I didn't see anything that needed changing. I think everything's fine there. I think you did a great job, Aaron.
Sure,
Yeah.
Angie's mad because I always
Motion to-
came to her last minute. I'm sorry.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. Secretary's report.
Nothing to report.
Aaron, you're muted.
Oh, nothing to report.
Off
Can you guys hear me on this
report.
mic?
Okay.
Nothing to report.
Yep. No, you're good. We got you, Aaron.
Okay, let me turn it up.
Okay. All right, treasurer's report.
Okay. Just real quick, you guys saw that we got a credit from Michigan Gas at Samaria Park. I don't know if we're in a budget, but they did a meter reading, and we have after no bill this month. We still have $103 credit, so a couple months free of gas that we've prepaid for. Monroe Health Department, Chris, did you get that? Did that help you at all?
Yeah, I got that email.
Okay.
It helps me because they still haven't returned my phone calls. So.
Did you try calling that lady direct at the bottom of that?
No,
letter?
I have not yet. I have not had the time to. I'll have
Okay.
to make that tomorrow.
Monroe Health Department sent us another bill for the water testing in this area. They also sent a letter that said that for ordinance or whatever, that it had to be done every month for a certain amount of time. That certain amount of time is now up. So now the water testing is going to be done quarterly. It also said that we had elected to have them come and pick up the water in this letter. which is what we had been discussing eliminating. So Chris is going to reach out to her again, and we're going to take care of that. And then Car Park, which Andrew's not on, got a new thermostat that we had Rawlings install. So we need to approve the Monroe Health, and we need to approve the Rawlings. But yeah, that's it.
Okay. Can I
How
have a
much was the
motion?
Rowling?
I don't know if
Go
somebody
ahead,
just
I
said
can hear
something,
you.
but I missed it.
Yeah, how much was the round for the thermostat? I'm just curious.
It was $162. And I called them and questioned on it because I also got one for, long story, because it's a heating and cooling. It was a little bit more than if it were just heating. So it was $162.
All right.
Okay, any more discussion on that, or should we get a motion?
I'll make
Motion
a
to
motion to
approve
approve
my
treasurer.
report.
I'll second it.
Okay. Well, Aaron,
Oh, aye,
we
yes,
have to do a voice vote on this, Aaron.
right, yep,
Okay.
aye, yep.
Chris,
Aye.
Chaz,
Aye.
and myself. Aye. Motion carried. All right, now we have a presentation from Lucy with Mannequin Smith. She's going to go over the various park projects that we have. Go ahead, Lucy.
Hi everyone. I'm here. I'm from Mannequin Smith. My name is Lucy, and Barry Bushman, along with me, my boss. You may know him. He operates. He's in the township quite a bit. We're your township engineer, and we do a lot of stuff around the township. And I have certainly been involved with the Parks Board, so does Barry, in a number of capacities. And I offered Carol to come tonight to really, because there's a lot of new members, I wanted to an opportunity to meet you, and also to talk a little bit about the recreation planning effort that's been going on in the last 4 years. So you have somewhat of a context, and you probably have seen some of those documents, but you may not be so much aware of others. So I have a short PowerPoint that I'd like to share, if that's all right with everyone. And Barry, while I put that up, please feel free to talk a little bit.
Okay, I'll fill in some time. No, as Lucy covered it pretty well. I mean, we're the township engineers, and I've been around the township. Actually, I'm a township resident. I've been here about 32 years. We're also work for the Bedford DDA as their engineer at the Secor Stearns intersection. And yeah, we're just here to help and offer advice or any recommendations we have. And by the way, if you do have any problems getting through the health department, I work with them very closely on a regular basis. So if you have any issue whatsoever, let me know. I'll be glad to offer any assistance I can provide.
All right. Well, so I have a few slides. I don't want to take too much of your time because I know your agendas are pretty lengthy. But please, at any time, if you want to enter up and ask specific questions, do so, because I'm going to go a little bit fast here. First of all, so my name is Lucy. I'm a landscape architect and a community planner. So we help out at the DDA board. We also help out in the planning department. So we know a lot about your township. And we've been really able to help the Park Commission in the past, and I hope this relationship can continue. I've heard that you're considering some projects, and I think we can really help you. This is what I'd like to cover today. I want to talk a little bit about your Parks and Recreation Master Plan that you have in place that's been approved by the DNR. I also want to talk about some of the projects we've been involved in the last 4 years. So those include a conversion issue that we dealt with, and I'll explain what that is. We were there to help you with the land acquisition of Wheeler Preserve, also in developing the master plan for the Wheeler Preserve and a park master plan for the Cars Grove Park. We also were able to help you with developing a parking lot and beginning the development of the Wheeler Preserve. So the Parks and Recreation Master Plan is a document that's really a park planning document that's state mandated and that you normally do every 5 years. So you see the one that you have currently is until 2022. And as part of that effort, and Carol, I don't think you were part of this effort because you came in a little later, but
I
there's
came in the middle.
Right. So we had to, it's like I said, it's mandated by the state, the DNR, and it's a thing that communities really need to do to remain eligible for certain grant programs. And you've had, Bedford Township has been able to get some grants in the past that were pretty beneficial to the parks. So they need to be renewed every 5 years and include certain elements. And that slide really kind of speaks to what's included in a Parks and Recreation Master Plan. And all of that is really mandated. Like I said, it's part of what is required by the states. So part of what is included in your master plan is goals and objectives. And those were essentially the ones that were adopted at the last Parks and Rec plan. And we also develop action plans, or an action plan, which really speaks to each and every park that you have, and primarily your community parks. So we heard the public, we got public input, and as you see here, we developed these preliminary concept plan and talking about all the elements you want to see in each and every park. And I don't really want to go over through the list, but I'll tell you just briefly what those include, and then we'll move on to the next. So we had talked about a peripheral pathway system in Cars Grove. We also talk about making a central community gathering place at that park. It's one of the only park that you have that people can actually walk to from downtown Temperance. So we viewed this really as a community gathering place, and that's what we had wanted to develop there. And when I say we, I really speak for the community or speak for the previous park board. And Parmalee Park also, we had developed some peripheral pathways, wanting to speak to possibly acquire some of the land next door, replace some of the existing park furnishings, and so on and so forth. Samaria, and I'm going quickly. Again, if you have questions, just stop me and speak up. At Samaria, there was not a whole big thing, but again, we had talked about doing some more pathways for people to be able to walk to and put in their steps. Additional shade trees, and maybe having some nature trails in the wooded area. At White Park, we wanted to continue to upgrade the ball fields, possibly update the concession plan, and improve the tennis courts and pickleball courts area, pave the parking area, replace some of the park furnishings, and keep the playground equipment in good order. I understand that you currently are considering redoing the basketball, and we certainly can help you with that. At Indian Creek Park, we talked about improving possibly the access and the parking to the park, realizing that this is really in conjunction with the schools, and it's important to work with the schools on this particular property, and then possibly improve the surface of the pathway that's really well used by the community. adding mileage posts or something like that. Upgrading the bridges over the drain, making sure that they're accessible. Those sort of improvements were considered. Lewis Amstead, I think there we wanted to really begin developing the northern section of the park that's really not accessible yet. Continue to restore some of the prairie and natural areas in the park. Adding possible pathways there and possibly adding a water feature. Also talk a great deal, both at this level and at the township-wide level, of improving and possibly developing a township-wide system of pathways. And I know some people are very interested in developing more possibility for people to walk along those large arteries, or developing some paved shoulders for people to bicycle from places to places, hopefully connecting Lambertville to Temperance and to your parks. Also, so I'm moving on now to the next project that we were closely involved with recently. And it's the Wheeler Preserve, a beautiful property that was donated in 2019. And we assisted the park board in developing a master plan that was completed also in 2019. This whole project came about really quickly because you were donated the property, and you also, as part of the donation, there was money involved to build the parking lot. So we also were able to assist the township in developing this parking lot and in bidding and actually constructing it, and all of which took place in 2019. That's I gotta say is a great accomplishment. Also, and I will credit particularly Connie Valquet here in getting some management of the invasive trees and plant species control at this property, which makes a great deal of difference. Beautiful piece of property that is. I want to talk a little bit about the property. Not only I'm really excited about this property, but I think it's a great asset to the township. You see here, there's these two aerials. You see the difference between 1993 and 2015, and you can really see how it used to be the Wheeler residence at the corner here, Section Road and Whiteford Center. And it used to be more of an old field and agricultural property. Over time, it became very invaded with different plant species, but truly, this property is located in an area the township is considered the Oak Openings area, or the Lake Plain Prairie area. And you can still see remnant of warm grass prairies in particularly the southern section of the property, which is a great asset. So as I mentioned, we were able to develop a master plan for the property, which truly only involved access, because the goal is really to keep it in the natural state. So the parking lot with some pathways leading to a center place. And Carol, you may be able to speak that. I think the last time we spoke, you were going to possibly purchase a trailhead area that could have a map, and I don't know if you were able to do that, because I think COVID hit right at the same time, so I'm not sure if it was implemented. Can you speak to that, or Carol?
No, we've not done much out there. We put a kiosk out there, and there's a bench out there, and Connie and her volunteers put in some flower beds, but that's about all we really got implemented out there.
Okay, well, I think that's what I was, yeah, that's great. I don't think there's a whole lot to do here other than keep managing the natural areas and keep preventing those invasive species. And that is not going to be a one-time thing. That's going to be a every year thing, or every so year, until you have everything under control. But these pathways that you see here on the master plan were pretty much there to begin with. And there's the wooded one, and there's the more in the open field one. And here's your area of more native grass and prairie-like habitat. We had talked about really developing more of a native benches and maybe interpretive signs. Those were, in general, the recommendations of the master plan. So, I mean, the recommendations are just, I'm just putting it up in a form of writing here. So essentially, that's exactly what I said. The other master plan we were able to help the park board with is the Cars Grove Park. I believe I mentioned that we were talking about really making this park a central, creating this central gathering place for the people of Temperance and anyone to be able to walk to. And so you see, and it's hard to see here because the current tennis courts are really right here. And the gravel parking lot is right here. And we were kind of reorganizing this whole space differently with parking along the edge here and possibly being able to connect with the church parking lot and be able to share that parking area here in cases of bigger events taking place, and having a that would look more like what you have up there and could be a place for events, either it could be like art fair, or it could be a farmer's market, or it could be however you want, but you can imagine maybe some tables or set up here that could really create this place. And you'd have also an outdoor area, and really people would be able to walk to it. Now this area here would be redeveloped for either the basketball and pickleball, and we would be able to have some permanent restroom also implemented, and have this system of walkways that would be around the park, going around your existing shelter, and keeping the play structure and the gazebo where they are, and really adding a border of a pathway around the border to really define the edge of the play structure. Now you have this fence that we were able to implement as part of the TAP or improvements that were recently implemented in Temperance, and we wanted to enclose the area here, removing all the fences. Also, that was part of the plan, and paving here, resurfacing the parking lot at that edge. So all of these improvements were being thought through, and I think right before COVID hit last year, we were talking about possibly going for a grant at DNR for maybe a phase 1 development. And I don't think we got anywhere after that. So this would be something that could really be, if you guys wanted to pursue this, we could certainly try to see what kind of grant we could get to begin to redevelop this park in this fashion. I think there was also talk of a dog park here at some point in time. And I think what I was hearing is some issue about perhaps this existing ball field needed to stay where it was because it was implemented as part of a memorial. And I'm not sure. I think we needed to verify that information before we could really rethink what was going on in that space here. So that was what was thought for Cars Grove. And again, this is just in words, what was in the development. Yes.
I think you had one of our members had their hand raised.
Oh, I don't see that because all I see is my presentation.
Yeah, no, I did, and I took it down. I was just curious, why wasn't the fence that runs along the front of Carr Park, why wasn't that continued?
Well, what happened was when we did the improvements in Temperance, it was part of another grant. And the reason we started doing the work at the park was because we wanted to avoid, and the work for that grant is really can only take place in the road right away or in easements along the road. It really is not to support any development in the park. And so,
I understand that, but it did not, it doesn't go all the way along the roadway. It
right,
covers
and so
about
that's,
3/4 of the front of the road.
well, it is where it's shown here, right, like so here. And the thought was we were gonna come and add these, the park commission would have come and added these vegetation to enclose it.
Okay, thank you.
There are a couple, I think, pine trees that were located at the ends of the fence. I think that was a goal to supplement those and add kind of a green or a shrubbery type feature along those areas.
That's right. Thank you. Any other question that I can speak of and or for us?
I have a few questions. Can you guys hear
Sure.
me?
Yes.
So, do we have an ongoing contract, or was that sort of all paid up? And then if we were to dive in on any of these other mini projects inside the big project, then we'd pay a la carte? Or do we have a service we're paying for right now that we should be
No,
using?
you do not.
Okay.
So every effort that we, like the master plans and the parking lot and the overall Township Parks and Recreation Master Plan, all of those were separate projects paid for under contract.
So there's just a friendly review off.
Tonight?
Yeah,
Yes.
tonight. I mean,
Yes.
we don't have any ongoing relationship at the moment, but
No,
to the
you
extent
do
that we have this document, if we're going to dive in on anything and we're going to engage you to carve out this a la carte, or was there anything in place for how we would engage you moving forward? How would we do that?
Typically, you retain our services when and if you want us.
Just call, okay.
Yeah, we generally work on a situation if you want to brainstorm or have special meetings or something, we'll do on a time and material basis, like an hour or two. And then if there's usually a separate project, a defined project, then we'll define the work and give you a price that would relate to. But
Gotcha.
This type of thing like tonight is just, we're just here just explaining things. There's no charge or cost to this.
For sure. I think we, as a board, we should do we always ask about a cow. I think we should do a cow just on this document, frankly. I don't know that we've given it enough attention. Maybe that's just me, and I'm outing myself, which is fine. I mean, but I think this
document. Have you read
document.
it, Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it, and I knew it was
I
there.
think
I haven't. I have not given it the justice that I should have. Now going through it, I mean, I knew it was there. At the beginning of our term, it was like, oh, great, there's a master plan. But now that it's all happening and we're spending money at Cars Grove, and we should have, circled back on this maybe as we were, kind of deciding the things on Cars Grove, because it obviously would have informed that. And I know it did. It's just, I think it'd help. I think we should take some time to do this document and only this document as a team. Not today, obviously, but it's a great document that I think would give us a lot of great things to talk about. But
Let me add something before you finish. It is the overall Township Parks and Recreation Master Plan that I spoke about is going to come due in 2022. And so, I mean, December 2022 is when it expires. So really, you should start thinking about it before then. So we're in 2021. It takes about 6-7 months to do, going through the process of the adoption and everything else. Pardon me?
What's it going to cost? What does it cost to get a Parks and Recreation Master Plan done, such as what you've done there?
The overall township one, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and Barry, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, was around 7,000 at the time when we did it in 2018/19. I'm not hearing you, Aaron.
Sorry,
I know you're trying
we as the parks kind of piggybacked on the township's overall plan. Then it sounds like
it's a separate effort. The Parks and Recreation Master Plan needs to be, it's state mandated, it's not, and it's a separate effort.
So it was 7,000 for the parks.
Correct.
Okay, so it wasn't like with the township's plan. I got you. Okay, and then we got to do that in 2022.
Can you
What's that?
PowerPoint, could you email that to Carol to email to us so we can start looking it over, and utilizing it?
Certainly. The overall document, that's the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, is on the Park Commission website. And Barry and I were having discussion with the clerk department to put those two other boards or exhibits, which I have left behind. So I know that Sally had them, I believe, as boards. But to have those also on your website. But I will email the PDF to Carol, no problem.
I have two more
That would be
things.
great, especially for Andrew, who wasn't able to be here tonight. That way he can look at it himself. Thank you.
Just to use a specific thing as an example, so we were talking about that basketball at White Park.
Yes.
So like, for instance, if we did want to now zero in on that, we can engage you and say, hey, we're looking at this zone. Can you guys give us some type of plan and a price for how to make that
Yes.
successful? So,
And that's a little different than the efforts I just talked about. That's engineering design. So now we're looking at putting a document and develop a set of plans for getting a bid. So there's a certain way to go about that. And it's a little, it's kind of what we did for the parking lot at Wheeler Preserve.
do we have to
I-
get a bid to get a bid?
Well, let me.
I'll let Barry
let-
address.
Okay.
Yeah, let me help you a little bit on that. The township, Bedford declares certain amounts, as most townships do, certain things where you might just go out and get a couple quotes, say to do something from a couple local guys and that may be around Bedford, and say, okay, give us 2 or 3 quotes. I can't remember because I work with so many different townships, but it might be like $5,000 or less, somewhere in that range. But you get up in the range of, I think Bedford's limits 20,000. If it's going to be over that, you have to have sealed bids and separate documents. It's got to be a closed sealed bid and that sort of thing.
Well, like, if we want your help with these basketball courts, how do we engage you for your help? What would the process be?
Well, the process, I guess, simply stated, I mean, I worked with Jerry Goodrich, about a year ago. He said we'd go out and take a look at the courts, or the surfacing was really goofy over there. It looked like they had overlaid it with something and had some material overlaid that they had put on there. And so I had gone out and checked with a local paving contractor I work with a lot, and he reviewed it. And I mean, but if it's under 20,000 or the Bedford limit, then we would just put together a simple sketch, and then we get a couple 3 bids. If it requires more work or the price requires it to be formally bid, then we put together a standard document. We have standard front end documents. We just attach those drawings and have contractors submit sealed bids on a certain date that you guys would then open.
We'd pay you guys to buy.
Yeah.
And are there other companies that are going to get mad at us for engaging you and not bidding that process to them for the process, if that makes sense? Are we allowed to just let's do it?
Yeah. Aaron, I think there's a certain sense of complexibility that we need to involve engineers and architects. Pouring a slab of concrete is not that.
I understand. I'm more just asking how we would do it. We may not choose to do it with the basketball courts, but since we have that in front of us, I'm trying to walk through just how we would do it. Would we call you up and say, hey, we've got this project, and then you
and go to all the
price?
Normally,
We're your township engineer and your township planner. So we provide professional services in general. And so those type of services can be construed as professional services.
So you're
sorry, Lucy, when you say that you're our township engineer, where is that? But you're also saying that we don't have a current contract with you. So what makes you our township engineer?
I'm going to let Barry address that.
Sure.
Okay.
The township every year appoints an engineer and a planner, and we've been ongoing the township engineer for it was, I think we got appointed during the time of Walt Wilburn's time. And so, township engineer, and then subsequent to that, they appointed us the township planner. Somewhere about that same time or before, we were also hired independently for the Bedford DDA, because that is a separate independent organization also. So generally speaking, yeah, we serve at the pleasure of the board, but usually it's a one-year appointment. That way there's continuity, and then, and that's usually done at the end of the year.
Good,
And-
thank you.
And then Barry, and Mark review all the development proposals that are coming to the township. They review it from an engineering standpoint as well, so.
Okay. My last question is just, are you guys limited to like physical things, or are there, human resource things that your company provides, like human resource services, or is it all physical engineering stuff? Like if we were
What do you
gonna,
have in mind?
well, like if we were going to hire an event planner, if we were going to hire a staff member, if we were going to hire a secretary or something like that, is there a human resource capacity in which you could assist us to properly, hire staff, or that you're not in that field, you're more physical things, I'm guessing?
Yes, we
Okay.
are.
Yeah, we don't really do that, although we do have a lot of connections throughout the region. And we're always willing to offer advice or recommendations, or people we do know if you need some assistance. But no, we don't directly do HR type work.
Cool. I'm done with my questions. Thank you.
It's okay, it's good. Anybody else? Okay.
No.
Well, thank you for
hopefully that
having
was-
us tonight.
Yeah, hopefully that was enlightening. And if you have any questions of either, Lucy or myself, please don't hesitate to call. And we don't charge for a phone call or an email or something like that. So don't worry about that. Just email us and we'll respond. So.
Thank you, and hope you
All
have a
right,
good
thank you
end of
very
meeting.
much. That
Thank you.
was very informative. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
All right, good night.
Good night.
All right. Now we're ready to hear from community education. Nancy?
Okay, just very quickly, I know you've got a long agenda. I sent a list today to Carol, and I know she shared it with all of you. At this point, soccer and t-ball, we're ready to roll. Flyers and registration and everything is going out this week. We generally book Indian Creek from about April 19th through about July. We can back that off once we know how many teams and how many spaces we actually need. But at this point, not knowing that, we just ask to book the whole place so we know for sure what that will entail. So, and then secondly, I know you had asked about summer parks. I'm still working on that. At this point, we may not be able to run that. The person that typically has put that together retired, and the new person is not available. So with all the logistics of everything, we may just let that go for this summer, but I will let you know for sure by the next meeting. And that's it.
Is there any
All
way
right,
we
thank
can,
you, Nancy.
is there any way we can help that be a success, so that, or
The
anything we can do?
The biggest problem is the facility, because generally we're out of Jackman Road Elementary and we can't be this year. So we were coming to you to talk about Samaria Park. There's some logistics with that being so far out, and the fact that it gets rented. We're working through some of that to see if it's still feasible. So.
Yeah, I would hope we could make that happen.
Yeah.
The kids need it.
I agree. We'll see what we can do. I will get back to you by the next
All right.
week.
Thank you, Nancy.
Sure.
All right, George, we are coming to the comments from the public. All right, thank you.
Hey, while we're waiting for that, quick question. On our
Yeah.
meeting, agenda, our second comments from the public does not have a time cap on it. Is that by design or by neglect?
I think it was just, yeah, by neglect. I think we've always been 2 minutes. We've never said
Okay,
anything
we just,
longer than that, although sometimes we let it roll, you know.
in the next agenda, can we just add that on there? I mean, it doesn't have to be 2 minutes. It can be 5 minutes. It can be whatever. I didn't know if there was some statute that said, no, we've got to give them time to filibuster or whatever. But if there is a time limit,
No,
we should make it on there, please.
We've always had it 2 minutes. I think that was, yeah, we left that off, but I can add it
Thank
for
you.
next time.
Yeah.
Not a
Yeah,
problem.
or just one heading that says all conversations will be 2 minutes or something, or comments. But yeah, if we can put that in there, it just. Sorry. Thanks, George.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Anybody have any suggestions for anything else on the agenda while we're waiting here? I can, for next time's agenda, I can make notes here.
Carol, I think with. Thanks, George. Carol, I think with the time that
All
we've
right,
already.
thank you, George.
I think with the time we've already invested, maybe we should kick Andrew's pavilion down to next week.
Well, when we get to it, one
The contract,
on
you mean?
that, just to move it to do it.
Yeah,
right.
that's okay.
The shelter repairs.
But
Yeah, we can talk
yeah.
about it when we get to it.
Let's get a motion on that.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, we'll do that when we get there. But yeah, definitely, I agree.
He should just be involved in that.
All right, you want to make a motion?
We can. Are we on to that now?
I'm sorry, you guys are cutting in and
Well,
out. I don't know if it's my
G.
computer or whatever, but I'm missing a lot of the conversation here.
That's G. We'll get there soon anyway, or soon enough. Let's just hit it when we get there. We got a few
All
things.
right, we'll keep going then.
Dog
All right,
waste.
discussion on adding dog waste stations. I checked into it. They're about $100 to $150 each. The previous board, their thinking for putting those up was to put them at the parks that had the trails, the longer trails. And so I think that's why we did that. I know there's been for some other ones at the other parks. I don't know that it's necessary, but if your particular park, you would like to have one, yeah, we can vote on that. We can see what we want to do with that. I tried to find the exact that has the ones already so we could all keep them uniform. There's no name on any of those boxes. I've checked them. So unless I can get hold of the maintenance department and they have a receipt for when they got those, then maybe I'll know.
They're not going to be right next to each other. I don't think you need to bother with that. If we were going to do something like that, I'll tell you, I'd love to get some sort of a design where you could stuff them full of Kroger bags, because I have those things coming out the ears rather than buying rolls of bags just to throw away. It seems like you could repurpose the ones that we get every week and let the community get
A lot of people do that on their own. I've seen a lot of people walk in there with their Kroger bags, but it's the people that don't have the bag that's the problem. Yeah. So I don't know. Do you want to postpone this to another time to discuss, or you want to take a vote on it now? I mean,
okay, let's talk about this.
Well,
who wants
what are
a place for their park? Who needs them? Carol, do you need some at your park?
I would say no. I think Amstead's fine. We don't want them at Wheeler.
I don't think White's a
Aaron,
problem.
what about Emily?
No, not particularly. Sorry if I missed it, but I mean, did we address who would empty them? Would that be technically maintenance's job to empty them?
Well, they're just bags.
That's maintenance's job.
No, it's just a bag
dispenser.
Oh, it's a bag
Yeah,
dispenser.
it's
it's
just a
not
bag.
a dropper
Yes.
Yeah.
thing to give them the bags. Oh, then no, I don't think so. No,
Okay.
necessary.
I don't think we need any.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Moving on, discussion of Bedford Black Ops contract. So was that
That's probably
Chris?
Andrew.
Was that you? Or that was Andrew?
Well,
All right.
I was talking with Ryan from Black Ops, but that is Andrew's part. I don't necessarily want. I mean, I'd want I believe the responsibility of that contract and doing it up would be between him and Bedford Black Ops at that point. And I don't want to vote on putting work on him without him having a say.
Put it on the list for next time.
I don't think we should withhold it from them. I think last time we were like, well, that's the last one, but to the extent that we didn't really have a formal process of first come, first serve or anything, I don't know that we can implement it now. It's like it's there, they want it.
Oh yeah,
You know,
what's there to discuss about it? We just got to have the contract change their name and have them sign it.
Yeah, I mean, we can put it on the next one. I think we're all on the same page, though. I think we're pretty positive about it. I'd say anybody in the community that wants it, speak now, right? I mean, because I think we're going to give it to them on the next meeting. We should definitely not withhold it from them. They do want it, and they'll do a great job, and it is a needed adoption. So I'm 99%.
I mean, I think maybe
Uh-huh.
the only thing I may have to say on it, they're great people, and I've talked with Ryan, their coach, and I believe he may be the head of their organization. And I've met with them over there. But with it being the first time as an organization doing a contract with us on the parks, I think doing a 1 year instead of a 3 year for it, and then maybe doing a 3 year after a 1 year's up, see how it goes.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Trial basis, sure.
So
Maybe someone wants to give that feedback to Andrew, and the next meeting we'll seal the deal, kind of thing.
He said he was going to look at the minutes and
Sounds good.
watch the tape. So if you
All
can
right, I'll
scribble that
I'll
note in there to contact them.
It's in. You got it.
Yeah, but I think that's a good idea. I like
All
that.
right. What about the discussion of the 3B addendum? The 1 day open, no permanent signage. I talked with, who did I talk with? I talked with our attorney, and he said if you spoke with the teams and they agreed to that, he would write up an addendum to add to this year's contract. If they don't want to agree to that, then he isn't willing to change an addendum until the end of the 3-year term. So,
Yeah,
I don't know, did you?
I did. I talked to him about it, and I got different reviews from different people that I talked to over there. They're a much larger organization than any of the other clubs, and they have bigger gears, so it takes a while to get them moving. They had said something about, and I wasn't taking notes because it was during working hours, that they don't play on Sunday nights. So they said that if anybody wanted to use the diamond Sunday, that would be fine. But other than that, the gentleman who I talked to, the president of the club, Tim, I think was his name, was very adamant that those are his fields and he's not letting anyone use them for safety reasons, because he's afraid that if someone hits a foul ball on one of the 3 inner fields or hits a far ball, it could hit somebody on one of the outer fields. So that it's very tight scheduling. And he has 20 some teams. So I appreciate that. But yeah, so we're kind of working back and forth with that.
That's his interpretation of how the contract that we have with him reads for the facilities that we own technically as the parks?
Yeah, his word was inclusive. Or exclusive. Sorry, was exclusive. So I explained to him that no, it's right of first refusal. If you're not using it, they're township ball diamonds and anyone can play on them. And
I mean, we're a
that's kinda
small
where it's
township
left.
of lovely parks board and community
yeah.
that would all like to
Yes.
communicate and work together for good understanding.
That's right.
And
That's right.
they're also there, and those are great things to use. So cool, whatever, man. Have his fields, and we'll figure it out.
and
We can say, right? We're not going to argue a contract, are we? I mean,
No,
I don't see a need for. I don't see a need for an addendum to no permanent signage, as that should be covered under the not leasing our property to any outside organization. In the contract, I mean, it states that in our contract, so that.
So the signs need to go and nobody else is playing on the fields for now.
Well, and I don't think that they can really do that. And the other gentleman that I talked to, the vice president and the head of umpiring, they were more amenable to some of the things that we had talked about. But we'll have to see. So it's ongoing negotiations over there.
Okay.
I mean, is that something we could have, just have Phil Goldsmith, the township attorney, look into?
Well, we need to make a decision, and I don't think we've ever actually voted on it. We need to make a decision as a board whether we're going to allow the teams that are sponsoring our parks, if they do a nice job, if we're going to allow them to advertise or sell space on our dugouts and on the fences and things like that. If they're doing a nice job in maintaining our parks and in making improvements and investing time, effort, and money into it, they have to get that money from somewhere. So I understand that it goes back and forth. The main reason that I have an issue with the signs at White Park is that none of those signs designate that those people are sponsoring 3B. It looks like Todd's Guns is sponsoring White Park and the township. No offense, Todd. If they were to take and add a banner that said 3B baseball appreciates the and adds that banner so that it's more them taking ownership of it, I would be more inclined to be okay with that. Same thing with the other player or the other teams that want to hang up signs. I'm okay with that. Unfortunately, everywhere we go, it's an advertising age. Michigan State just signed a big contract where how much money do they make, and yet they're still selling their naming rights. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm okay with that. If we want to get a kickback for that, that's up to us. They currently don't pay anything in lease. We get nothing for leasing these fields out other than goodwill, and hopefully they take care of or improve the facilities, maintain or improve the facilities. So if we want to allow them advertising and charge them an advertising fee, if we want to, I mean, I'm sure that at least in Toledo, I know of, you can't hang a sign up without paying some sort of tax or getting a permit for putting a sign up. I don't know how that works up here, but maybe something along that line. I don't know. But that's something that we should discuss and decide.
I personally think any money made off of the parks should go back into the parks. I'm not against having signs up. That money should be going back to the parks because that's park real estate. And that's the townships, the people of the township.
And I get that, and I completely agree with you. But the problem is we have no way of knowing that. I mean, the guy happened to tell me when I was out there Sunday how much they got to hang up 2 signs on one of the backstops and put the logo on the kids' jerseys because apparently you can get that package deal. And I know how much they made. Now, does that correlate to how much they put in for the batting cages that they just installed? That I'm sure weren't cheap. I have no idea, and there's no way for us to track that. So the only way that we could fair and justly do that would say, hey, you're welcome to hang up a sign, but we need $20 per sign for you to hang it up. If you're making $500 to sell this sign, if you're making $200 to sell this sign, fine, you got to kick it back to the parks. And then we know that it's going to us, that we can do what we want with it. So that, I don't know, that's just kind of my idea, my thought.
I think in your ongoing communication, I don't think we should make any decision on their signs per se to take them away at the moment or make any change to them. And you should just continue having your great discussions, Chaz. And I don't know. Right? I mean,
Yeah,
Well,
tell them all those things you just told us.
honestly, no, I do appreciate the discussions outside of the meetings you're having with them, Chaz, but I'd really like for somebody from their organization to come on our meeting and talk about this particular instance here.
Of course, there's nobody waiting, is there? Because I did actually invite the vice president, and I asked them to call in because I told them we were going to have this conversation about the signs. And okay, they both said that, yeah, they'd watch or they'd call in. So they were both given the opportunity yesterday.
Well, I mean, we can pass it up for right now, and if anybody from 3B is watching this, if they can call in, we can circle back to it. Later in the meeting.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, well, at any point, whenever they call, if somebody calls in, but they have to call in. Is that possible? Can they just call in anytime,
Right.
George? Yeah.
Well, out of all the calls we've ever had, George, if we get one and they say they're with them, or you have to answer it anyway. Okay.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Just let them in.
We can do it in comments in the end. 3B, if you're listening, call in for comments at the end of the meeting.
There we go. All right, so we'll move on. We'll put this on the next. Hopefully somebody will get back with us. If not, it'll be on the agenda. Discussion on lighting in the parks. I know we talked about it last time. We were kicking it around. Is it something we are still considering, or do we want to just drop for now?
I don't see. I am going to get pricing, whether we do anything with it. I'm going to get pricing to add lights to the new basketball courts at White Park. Whether we decide to do it, whether we don't, we can talk about that later. But I'm at least going to get pricing so we have an idea whether it's $100,000 or $500. So just so we have an idea.
Okay. Do you want me to add it to the next agenda, or just wait and you'll bring it up when you get them?
Just probably just wait till he gets the bids.
Yeah, it's going to be a little while.
Yeah.
I've got an electrician that I'm friends with, so he'll come up for no reason and just give me a ballpark of what it would cost. So,
Well, they're a lot easier to put in than take out, I'd say. So let's not be hasty and put them in and then have to take them out, right? Or,
All right. Porta potties in the park.
We should have at least one porta john in every park. I had them unlock apparently the one at White Park, and I don't know why. And it should have been every park should have a new and ADA porta john. There's one that's been at White Park all winter and found out, I think Friday, that it's locked. And I talked to Stevens and find out what it's about, and apparently it's for their drivers or something. That it's just a convenient place for their drivers to go to the bathroom. So they lock it, and they don't charge us for it, but they leave it there all winter. So I requested today that they unlock it so that there's one closer to the playground. But you guys just tell me. I have no idea. You tell me when. I mean, the parks have been packed. You tell me when we want the rest of them brought out. I know I've been talking to 3B, and I know they start early April is when they start practicing and everything like that. So I'm looking at maybe the first week in April, rolling out the rest of them to the parks where they go. If that makes sense to everybody.
I was at the parks. I was at parks today and drove around today, and they were all pretty. Like, they were all busy, like really busy. And looking at the weather report for the next couple weeks here, I'll pull it up, but it's 60s, 70s.
The parks were busy, or
I think the parks.
Okay.
The parks themselves.
Right.
So I think Samaria Park, I checked that one, and the Porta John itself wasn't overused. I don't need any more yet. But yeah, I think first first week of April.
Yeah, I have to find out how many they typically have where, unless you know, Carol.
Okay, that'd be good. Yeah, they were talking about Parmalee. Somebody was complaining that there's only one out there and it's way at the Frisbee golf area, and they thought it needed a second one closer to the parking lot somewhere. I don't know if we typically have two out there or not. I'm not familiar with that, so maybe there is
We're
a
gonna need
spot
one
where there's
The
another one.
parking lot, But
We're gonna need one at the
Yeah.
Ball Diamond for sure. So I mean, it's hey,
Okay.
and while Carol, while we're talking about this,
Yeah,
and just because I know that none of the baseball people are listening, let's have this conversation. I know that 3B they have their concession stand and they have two bathrooms that they built that they primarily use. If we take out Porta Johns primarily at the Ball Diamonds, shouldn't the ball teams pay for those? And then along those same notes, I had to go over to Indian Creek this Sunday and open up the dumpster because 3B was cleaning out their storage room and needed somewhere to throw all of their boxes and old baseballs and stuff, and they wanted into the dumpster. Shouldn't that be on them? Why are we providing? I mean, we have to have a dumpster there for our maintenance to pick up our cans. And yes, theoretically, everybody who goes to these Ball Diamonds could just throw all their trash into our cans, and then the maintenance crew has to pick them up. So maybe it's a catch-22 type of thing. But at White Park, we have two relatively large dumpsters, and I need to talk to Pat to find out how full they typically get. But I don't know why these companies are making, or these teams and organizations, I don't believe they're not for profit, or if they are, they're, I don't know. It just
well,
seems
that's
like
a conversation we have with them, but they've already signed a contract and it wasn't included in the contract. I think if we want to
does the
change
contract
it, we
say
would have
we'll
to get an
provide-
addendum.
Does the contract say, I'd have to look it over. Chris, does the contract say we'll provide them with a dumpster?
Not that I can remember. Not anything I read in there.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so theoretically, we don't have to. Chris does, and Select's been there a while, and 3B's been here a million years. Has Select asked you to unlock the dumpster? I'm sure they don't have a key.
No, they take care of everything themselves over there. Pretty well. So
Right.
no, they haven't asked me to unlock the dumpster or anything for them.
Okay, and 3B, they did a nice job. They've chased some people off who were trying to get into the dumpsters at White to dump their personal trash and things like
Yeah, I
that.
just unmuted my mic.
But
That's good.
just curious.
Can you hear me?
Don't know who you are, but yes, we
Okay.
can hear you.
I got it.
Aaron?
wait,
Okay, Aaron, you there?
yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was muting a bunch of things.
Okay.
Okay.
You guys can hear the things on my computer, huh?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Gonna be
Yeah.
a problem if I'm gonna try to run another program. I might jump in the other room with Chris. But either way, okay, so everything.
Okay, let's move on then.
All right,
Porta Johns are
we'll
done.
move on to F, revise, reservation updates.
Well, hold on. We're having a meeting until second week of April. So I want to make a motion to have Chaz set up Porta Johns at whatever capacity we had them last year. First week of April, and we adjust them as needed throughout the year.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. Second.
Okay, do we get a second on that?
I second.
Chaz,
Yes.
did you second it?
Chaz,
Okay, all right.
we
So,
lost.
Chris?
We lost Aaron there.
Oh, we
Aye.
still got
There's
a
the three
quorum
of
if we
us.
all agree, so I think we're good. All right, I say yay.
Terry, take it.
Chris, you said yes?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Chaz said yes. All right,
Yep.
that's three, we're good. We just need to tell Aaron so
Aaron's
he can
there.
put it up.
Oh, sorry, I'm here. Yes, yep, I'm
Yeah,
here.
there he is.
Yes.
Yeah, we just voted
Okay.
to put the Porta Johns out the first week in April, so.
Yeah, I heard it. Yep. Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, how's Revise coming? Chaz?
Revise is moving along. I actually just finished. I'm pretty excited. This is going to be cool. I'm sorry it's taken this long, but it's pretty cool. I just finished the bookables part for some. I'm doing Samaria first, and then I'm going to copy it. I got the bookables part of Samaria done. I got the form finished to activate the reservation. So I'm about an hour away from being done with my end of it. What we're waiting on now is the website company that we're using, Revise, is trying to coordinate with the payment site that the township uses, which is Point and Pay. So the two website designers, whatever, have to talk and get each other's notes and numbers and get the two sites talking to each other. So they've been emailing back and forth. They're supposed to have another email tomorrow to try to get it all finalized. And I would like to be optimistic and say by the end of the week, maybe. But I have no idea how long their end of it is going to take. But our part is really cool. A couple of quick things that I wanted to run past you guys to make sure that you agree. I just kept the same fees that we had. It was $250 to rent one of the halls. But what I'm doing now is, rather than paying that $250 and getting it for an entire day, I think it's like 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. or something like that. I'm going to put it in there for 6-hour time slots. And I'm going to do it you can rent it from 8 to 2. And then you can rent it from 4 to 10. And I'm doing it so that there's that 2-hour time when one come in and clean and sanitize if needed. I don't know if we're going to get that many double rentals, but if the Boy Scouts want to use it at night and Mrs. Jones wants to use it for something in the morning, then we can have it rather than just one rental a day. I think that kind of limits us, as long as that makes sense to you guys.
Well, the only thing I have to say about that is a lot of times people want to use it for picnic type onward. They don't want to use it in the morning. They're using it, for something from noon to probably 5. So, yeah, I don't know if that's all going to work out for you.
Yeah,
there.
I think that would be fine if they wanted it noon to 5. Then they would just have to rent it both. They'd have to rent both morning and afternoon, because otherwise we have to clean it. You know what I mean? There's no way. I don't know. I think we're limiting ourselves by saying the Boy Scouts want to go in there for an hour Thursday night, so they're renting it for the day, so nobody else can go in there. I don't see them paying $250 to rent it for an hour too. There are different fees in here for nonprofits and stuff like that, but I don't know. And you're right. So, I mean, we can flex those times. I'm just trying to put time in the middle for the cleaning people to come in. Which I also found a lady who's interested in cleaning the halls, since we were looking for somebody. I just got to put her in touch with Chris and Andrew, and you guys can meet her and see what you like and see if it'll work out that way. Or maybe we need to go out to bid. I'll have to look at the budget and see how much we spent last year on cleaning services.
It was 5,500, I recall, from the last meeting.
Oh, was it?
I remember right. Yeah.
But it's like an a la carte thing, it kind of depends how much use and all that it sounded like. So I wonder just what the process is, if it's allowed to be like that. But I mean, who cares? Or not who cares, but I mean.
Right. I would think we can just get some prices then.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just a notice, maybe like an alert, like, hey, the Bedford Parks will be hiring a cleaning position. If you'd like to apply here by this time, and at least it's been notified. Is probably the best way to do our due diligence.
I think we should just put it out for bid.
Okay.
We should write it up as a bid, and anybody can bid. You don't have to have a company. You can, you know, you can be Sally Smith doing it
Sure.
by yourself instead of a
Chris Andrews got the gazebo or the pavilion going on. Do you want to take care of that then?
I could write up a little thing if
Yeah.
that's. I could write up a one pager that could be posted unless we
Yeah,
are
you
supposed
don't
to have the
you
lawyer
don't have
do
a
that.
hall. You don't have a hall. Let Chris handle it because he's going to have to meet him over there and show it
Yeah,
to him.
yeah.
And just let him handle it.
Oh, well, fair. I meant like if we're gonna be posting a bid for like who writes our bids when we post a bid. We just somebody picks it and writes them.
Well, the township has, the clerk's department has some bids from previously to help us write. You know, we can pretty much copy what it was before and use that same.
Does one of us have to take the lead
And
on
I'll
that?
work
though,
on it with you.
ultimately? Okay. Chris and I'll take the lead on
There
it.
we
Sounds
go.
good.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
Yeah,
Sounds
I
good.
good.
I have the name
That's
of a lady
fine.
that I'll get you.
Gotcha.
Thanks. Um,
All right, the next thing I have
I want to
discussed
make a motion.
car park shelters, but I think we're gonna
hold on, Carol.
You're kind of
Carol,
freezing,
hold
Chris.
on.
Sorry,
I
we're
wanna make a
losing you.
motion. Oh,
we're all
am I good
breaking
now?
up.
Yeah,
a
Chris.
little bit.
Chaz, you're frozen there too. I'm just seeing lines on your screen.
Yeah.
Shall go and come
I
back.
want to make a motion to accept Chaz's changes to rent the halls in 4-hour time increments to be able to
6
rent
hour.
them twice a day. 6-hour time increments to be able to rent them 2 separate times in a single day.
I second.
All right. I vote yes. Chris? Chris? Yeah. Chaz?
Yes.
Yes. I.
Aaron?
Aye. Yes.
You're muted.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Yes.
You know, by the time we figure this out, we're not going to have to do this anymore.
God.
Thank goodness.
I hope this is over soon.
All right, we'll move on down to H. We're going to skip G, save it for next time. So Aaron, we're to your part there. Discussion of the summer season events project.
Well, did you guys see? I don't know if you were able to see it or not. I mean, I want to try to initiate a events schedule for 10-week period. See what we can do. See if we think we can turn it into something and make some money and make some great events happen. I proposed it in a way that we would, hire someone or put out for bid or whatever, an event planning position, which then we could either pay or allow that person to take a commission off the tournament fees and other things that might come in. Or we could arrange it in any way, but I just trying to get the ball rolling on initiating a tournament schedule and, putting events together that can mobilize people and money for using the resources. So what do you guys think? I don't know.
I think it's a great idea. We just have to be careful we don't overlap with, what Community Ed's got going on, like Indian Creek Park. Everything else, I think we're good.
That's why I was thinking, like, hiring a
as
specific
far as
person,
using Indian Creek.
like having a specific person whose job it is to work through all those things on a weekly basis for each event and make sure that it goes off without a hitch, would be the idea, right? To hire someone in that regard. But yeah, tell me what you guys think. I don't know. I mean, we could try to do it. I think I have to leave the room.
That sounds like we need to put that out for bid also.
Yeah, if you guys think so. I mean, I
think the problem with that is we have no idea what we're getting into. I think what we need to do is talk to some people who have done this and before we go out to bid. Aaron, I think this is an awesome idea and I love it. But none of us have time or ability to do this. So if it's going to happen, I agree. We're going to have to hire somebody and put somebody on to do it. And there are going to be some logistical things here and there I mean, I don't know. There's going to be some logistical things that'll have to get worked through, but I think what we need to do is do some research into people that have done this. I know people who have used event planners in the past. I can talk to some of them. If you guys talk to Select and find out what their get the name of their guy who plans the baseball tournaments and reach out to him maybe. So I agree, but before we put it out for bid, I think we ought to talk to some people and see what this is going to take. I mean, this is a major undertaking. This is going to be a lot of work for somebody to put this together.
It certainly is.
We can,
Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
we can put it on the next agenda and see what we
Well,
can come up with before then.
It's Eric's thing. I don't want to kick it down the road. We can vote on it now if you want. I think right now we have a dream, and I don't think we have any realistic idea what it's going to take or cost to get involved in it.
Well, I think the cost should be negligible. It should pay for itself and then some in terms of each tournament certainly involves tournament fees, food trucks or other vending permits and other things. It's definitely an undertaking, but I'm sort of like, you've heard me talk about doing it in a variety of capacities and year-round environments, and I was sort of like, how can we create a model for ourselves to do it, And that's why I was sort of like this 10-week time period over the summer to try to, do that as a project, and then after that 10 weeks be able to evaluate, hey, this was a disaster or this was a success, or we made 10 grand, we made 100 grand, we made $5, whatever. That's what I know, but how else are we going to do it? Because it's so great that like our parks should be making money and having events. I just don't know how to get that ball rolling. You're right, and so
I completely understand. Yeah, if you don't mind, Aaron, I would like to just wait until our next meeting on this one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'll do some research because these people are going to know. They're going to say, "Oh my God, no, you can't." I mean, you're not going to be able to get anybody. And my major concern right off the bat is that now you're going to be interfering with, or you're going to be battling the baseball teams at every park.
Sure.
I mean, with the exception of not Samaria, with the exception of Parmalee, or not Parmalee, with the exception of Amstead.
Well, if you go through it, there's a tennis tournament the one weekend, then there's a 5K race at Amstead, and then a 3-on-3 basketball. So they're not all, they definitely utilize different parts of the parks, to kind of highlight a different part.
Well, but parking and everything too.
Right. I mean, it definitely requires a person who's going to make it a part-time job for themselves over that period of time and, work on the individual successes of each little meticulous detail. So that's, I wouldn't put that on any of us. I wouldn't think it would be appropriate for any of us, but I know the parks can do it. I know we can achieve it. It just, I wanted mostly get it out there, let you guys think about it. I wish I could meet with you individually, but that's probably open meetings violation. So I don't know, but think about it. Think about just what we could do using the parks as tournament resources. All that stuff. And let's talk about it next meeting. It's cool with me. No problem at all. I was sort of just thinking use the fireworks as the kickoff, use the fireworks weekend as the initial weekend, just, kill two birds with one stone kind of thing. So that was all. But think about it. And
I think that's a fun idea.
Sounds good.
hopefully keeps us away from millages too, or at least complements millages and gets money coming in diverse forms. That's the idea, right? We don't need to tax for everything if we don't have to, at least. Next time it'll be exciting to talk about that. And then the next one was the bike thing. Should I jump right into the bikes?
Yeah.
I mean, we had told the biking community we would try something. I was thinking the temporary project again would be the best option, just in the event that, like, if it doesn't go well, it's always temporary. But a dirt space for them, I think the best spot, frankly, is in White Park, is my actual thought. It's kind of like behind that parking lot. behind the tennis courts, kind of closer to the road than we want to put the basketball courts, but still like a little bit past those trees there, if you know what I'm talking about. That's my thought of where we could put a temporary dirt space. You know, there's not much going on right in there. You know, because it sounds like the teenagers on their bicycles crossing town, you know, being able to have that central location for them would be desirable for parents, although maybe there's parents who say that's not desirable, but the half dozen parents I talked to said that somewhere in the middle would be desirable because their kids are going across town to Parmalee and just the whole, you know, trek the teenagers take on their bicycles across Bedford. Congregating point was desired, and that's what we had originally thought Indian Creek, but that back corner where the road off the road is not good. You know, having it in White Park was where I was thinking, but they say that, you know, with the guy from the bike store and another individual who had a Bobcat that he could rent, that as long as we can carve out the space for them, they can make it a volunteer effort, whereupon they can make their own little biking space. So that's my, you know, follow up on that, on communicating with that community when they gave us public commentary a couple months ago, if you guys remember. So
Right, yeah,
this is where it, I guess,
I remember
meets
that.
the road. This is where the rubber meets the road. Do we carve out a biking space for the kids temporarily?
Yeah,
Mhm.
if we were going to let them do that the volunteer way, you know, rent a Bobcat, bring it on the property, we would have to get some type of waiver made up that they would have to sign.
So the proposal, just to walk through it here, I don't know if I'm going to share my screen or anything, but May 1st was when we were hoping to kind of do a ribbon cutting, you know, let them do it May through September. So I guess it would be a 5-month temporary thing, May, June, July, August, September. And I had some dates in here where we would try to have meetings set up with the bike folks and everything. So we could push some of those back. That's all tentative, obviously. But, you know, if we tried to get a meeting together with them to sign some waivers and make an agreement and get the people who I had spoke with in the last time to give us some type of commitment that makes us feel comfortable that they're going to do it. You know? Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Aaron, did they give you any sort of an indication or any sort of an idea of what they want?
This is pump track.
I understand that, but did they give you a design? I mean, I want a picture of it. I want to know what they're thinking. I don't want them to just go out there and say, "Yeah, we'll put a hill here. We'll put a jump there. Yeah, awesome." No, I want to see something that we're getting before we just let somebody go into the parks with a Bobcat and start tearing things up.
No, they didn't give me that, and that was sort of, you know, because they had come to us in our meeting with, oh, the park should have a pump track, you know, and
Sure.
This was sort of like, hey, how about we do a temporary summer pump track to see, you know, before we start building pump tracks. Really gotten to the details of what jump would look like but you're right, having a little drawing, I think that would be the first thing, like in the first meeting is, hey guys, you know, before we ever cut a ribbon, we're going to need a draft of, you know, 3 jumps, 5 jumps, 8 jumps kind of thing.
Yeah, so. Exactly. And I think that's where we need to start is they should, if you want to help or if we need to help them, whatever, before we decide how much space, they may need to know how much space we have, but I think they need to have a plan where, hey, say you get 100 foot by 200 foot, what are you going to do with it? Okay. What would you do? What is it going to take? What is it going to cost? What are we going to have? I mean, are we going to have to put another bathroom over here? Are we going to have to put more trash cans because we're already having issues with trash cans at the disc golf thing? Right. I mean, it's just, we need to know what we're getting into before we say, yeah, go ahead.
You're the White Park liaison, I think, right, Chaz?
Yeah, and I don't like the idea of putting it at White Park, not because I'm the liaison, but because I think there's enough going on there right now. With the new basketball courts, with the baseball diamonds, with the walking track, the pickleball court, I think we should spread the wealth. And I think that if I've done those pump tracks before and the one with the kids, the ones that we've enjoyed the most is there's a really nice one up in Elk Rapids, up by Traverse City. and it's awesome. You go through the woods, there's a parking lot, you get off, you just ride in these trails through the woods. So if I were going to do it, that's honestly the first thing that I thought of when I walked the trails in behind Indian Creek, in between the school and Indian Creek, is how cool would this be? It's already sand, there's already hills, there's trails back here. Just to make a bike trail going through back there. It may not be a pump track where you can see the guy next to you, but a bike trail back through there with some jumps and ramps and things. But that's just my thought.
You want to follow up with them with me to the extent that it's probably going to be Indian Creek or White Park somewhere in there if we're going to do this for these folks, that it's going to be in that zone. I mean, we can follow up and continue working on the best spot and, how the plan's going to be. I don't know. I don't know how we meet the public's demand there,
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
I like the idea of Indian Creek. I like the idea of Indian Creek in will that be the southeast corner, the very far southeast corner? It kind of dips away from the soccer fields.
Yep.
It's an open space that doesn't really get used for anything right now. There's just a walking trail that kind of goes near it and goes around it that I work around and not have to disturb. Our only deal is we have to look at our lease on the property. To what ought to do with this property, and definitely get school approval on it from the school board. So,
well, I think, and frankly, I mean, it is still a nebulous group, and one of the first things I was going to try to initiate was like them at least creating some type of temporary organization, who's the commissioner or, assistant commissioner or something, and they're going to have to do that for us before we even get anywhere anyway.
Honestly, Aaron, I don't know if they do. Why would they? They don't have to necessarily be an organization. They can just be volunteers. If they like to bike, and we're willing to listen to them and go along with this, fine. But I think what we need to start with is just ask them, hey, what are you looking for? Is this 2 hills and a jump? Is this 300 feet and we're going to have flaming rings to jump through? And I mean, we just
2 hills. Maybe 3. We're going to give them the limited option because frankly, we are not the temporary project is not for the quality of the experience. It is for the social dynamic of our township and what our parks are and the kids hanging out and yada, yada, yada. And the Parmalee, other social dynamics that we've discussed in the past. Right. So that is way more in my mind, mission A is to have a safe, demarcated place for the kids, the young adults to be safe and active, right? And whether they have hit big jumps or not big jumps can be next year's discussion on the actual quality of the thing. Mission 1 is give these kids and the parents who are asking for it as for their kids and everything a place. So 1 hill and dirt is fine.
Okay, then if you can get these people together, and I'd be happy to talk to them.
Okay.
Have them draw up a plan. Have them draw up what their thoughts are, what they're thinking. I mean, I don't think that 1 hill and a ramp is gonna do a whole lot to pique anybody's interest. They can ride down the driveway and get a hill and a ramp. So.
Well, maybe 2 hills. I'm just saying in general. I mean, we're mostly, yeah. I'll get me in touch with the right guy. Mm-hmm.
Well, Carol?
I'm gonna comment here that Indian Creek is where you guys are talking about is probably not going to fly because you've got cross country running through there, and you've got people that use that for soccer practice and lacrosse practice back in there. So I don't think the schools will probably agree to that. But I want to throw out Amstead Park, and I know Chris, you're not on board with that probably, but the cemetery there has a huge pile of dirt that's just been sitting there. I have no idea what they plan to do with that, but it's already there.
Where did that come from, Carol?
I have no idea.
The issue, the issue with Untitled Park on that would be we're already limited on parking, and we're already short on parking just for the walking trail there alone, and then we would have to build another parking lot to be able to
Yeah,
sustain
build
that.
another parking lot.
Otherwise, you're going to be riding bikes through Onstead Park, be riding bikes through the walking trail to get to the bump track, or people are going to park in the cemetery to get to the bump track, or we have to build a parking lot, and that defeats the purpose of a one-year trial. That's why the area we're talking about, Carol, does not go on any path. It does not go on any soccer fields.
You'd have to
and
ride
yes,
across
we
the
need
paths to
school
get
board
to it,
approval.
though.
That's 100%. You would, yes.
Well-
Which
but
corner
people have
are
to
you
go across
talking
those
about again?
paths to get to anywhere. They got to go across them to get to the soccer field.
This is definitely something that should be.
It's not a rec. I think that the people you're talking with, I think that they need to go to a school board. They want to do. One of us maybe with them on that.
I agree.
To get board approval on that. It's at least attempt it. Because we can't for them. School board don't make no decisions. So, but I don't see a problem. I don't think it would interfere with any of those other programs going on there whatsoever. I think we could get around it because you're gonna. I mean, no matter what you do in that park, you cross that trail. I don't think having to cross the trail to get there is going to be an issue. People can on it. You can stop and look. I mean, it's the base times you have to go across there, soccer fields. But there's that, like I said, that south, very far east corner. It goes farther south than the rest of the park. It's just a little. I think it's perfect for something like that for a trial. And then, if they don't maintain it properly and take care of it, maintenance comes in with our loaders and we level it out, throw grass seed down, and be done with it.
Yeah, I mean that is the original place we were talking about, and I guess putting a live cam up like at the skate park would assuage my original concern. So yeah, I mean I think you're right. Like with the school board, the fact that like we are really doing this for the young people and the families that have young children, which is why probably Amstead, even though maybe would work, or like you'd have the kids riding their bikes up and down Lewis Road. It's a lot of those. Most of the population I think lives in the southern part of the community. And a lot of these newer, developments, and they want to be able to have somewhere safe for the kids. So, yeah.
You know what? You know where might not be a bad area now that I'm thinking about it? In the back corner of Carr, where all of that mulch is that we're getting hauled out of there. Back in the trees back there, that might not be a bad spot. I mean, it's a pretty big area once we get all that crap cleaned out of there. And you're not going to be able to do much. You can't really do much with it.
I'd be interested in that. Yeah, I mean,
you got plenty of parking lot. You could ride right back there, and you're not in the way of anything. I mean, you'd be in the way outfield of the ball diamond, but it's pretty far back there, I think.
What about that area by the YMCA? It's school property, but you could always have the YMCA parking lot in the back to use for people to park.
What area?
You'd have to talk to them. We'd have to talk to the school. It would be a collaboration. But there's that field back there that's open. I know they've had some soccer practice on that area back there.
Oh, I didn't know anything about that. Where's it at? Carol, where's that area at?
It's by the YMCA. It's off to, if you're going down. It's off to the right by the YMCA. There's an open area back there. You don't really see it from the Indian Creek Park, but if you're passing down the road, you'll see that field there. It's an open area.
Okay.
That's something to think about.
Yeah. Why don't Chaz and I kind of work on location, discussing it with representatives from the school, and discussing with the volunteers what the volunteers, like you're right, I guess they don't need to be an official committee, but we need specifics from whoever's volunteering and commitments of what they're really going to volunteer. Last thing we want is a half volunteer who fails in the middle. That's
right.
Worse than
that's worse than any volunteer projects where people go in with great hearts and not enough forethought. So
that's why I was going to make them a committee, but if we get commitment, then we're good. Chaz, let's me and you revisit on that if we should.
Okay. Hey, Carol, while we're on this, just real quick, who do we talk to at the schools? Do we have a liaison? I mean, I know Nancy's community ed.
Nancy's our liaison.
His name's Griffin. No, to the school. No, Nancy's not our liaison to the school board.
I didn't
Griffin
think so.
Kirsch is our liaison to the school. Griffin Kirsch is his name.
Do you have his information, Chris?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm sure we can get Griffin's information. Chaz, that's a good idea. Me and you should
know what?
reach out.
Yeah.
Good idea. Yeah. Good call.
I'll bet Todd will get it for us.
Chaz, you and I will
Okay,
connect
Aaron, we
with
should,
him and develop- Yeah, okay. Yep.
we should see if we can get some of those volunteers that you were talking with possibly to come to our in-person meeting, our next meeting in April. You know, that way we can get a clear idea of what they really want.
If they have a plan, yeah, then they can make a presentation. So that'll give us 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Chris, why don't you or Aaron talk to them, see what they're thinking, then we can go scout out locations from there. And then next meeting, we'll make a presentation to them. I like it.
Done. Fantastic.
All right, moving on to discussion to use Stevens disposal for 30-yard dumpsters at car park, $250 per dumpster. Did we want to kick that around till Andrew's back with us, or?
I make a motion to
No.
I make a motion to move to authorize 2 dumpsters and see how far it gets us.
I think 3. Yeah, I would.
Fine.
Yeah, we do
I
too.
amend my motion
Yeah, you
to
wanna do
3 dumpsters.
3. And they are 30-yard dumpsters. Let's be clear about let's be clear about the size on it too, so that way. All right, it is on there. It does say 30-yard. Good. I'll second.
And Chris, we're sure that the nursery is taking this at no cost, so there's not going to be any additional fees.
There no additional fees.
Okay. I make a motion. Yep. Chris seconded. Carol, call it.
All right, Chris,
All right.
Chaz,
Aye.
myself, I, Aaron.
Aye.
Was that an I, Aaron?
Yes.
I
Yep.
didn't
Yep.
hear
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry.
Motion carries. All right, I've got on here to make a cow meeting for the formalize our budget for 21-22. And I realize with the holiday coming up, that's going to be difficult to do. But give me a suggestion. What day works for you guys? We could do it earlier. We don't have to do it at 7. We can make it in the afternoon if that works better. We can, you can make it on a weekend if that works better.
Hey, just real quick, I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch up here. Hey, Chris, if we don't need that last 30-yard dumpster, we can take it over to Parmalee, right? Once we see how far they get with it. If we need more, we can obviously get more, but if we have overflow, we can run it over to Parmalee and start shoveling that stuff out of there as well, right?
If you want to, we can. I want to make a motion to amend the motion of the Stevens disposal dumpsters from getting 3 of them down to getting 2 of them.
Sure, I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, I say aye. Chaz?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye. Yes.
And Chris?
Yeah, we can always get more,
Aye.
so.
All right, motion carried. Back to our cow meeting. Do we want to stick with Mondays? Do we want to change
I was thinking Wednesday
I
the 14th.
Wednesday the 14th?
That doesn't work, is it?
Hey, it's good for me.
I mean, it's bang, bang, right? 12th and then 14th, get them out of the way. I mean, I don't know.
At this point, we should be able to take the you know, the actual paperwork and say, yep, this amount of money for this item, this amount of money for this line item. We need to go line item by line item and pop the money in there. Go ahead.
Can we do that?
The planning commission
I'm
meets
sorry,
when?
George, what was that?
Thanks, George.
Well, we were going to meet in person, George, starting in April. That shouldn't interfere with your planning commission meeting. We should be okay.
Hey, quick one though, Carol. Sorry, George, go ahead. Yeah, but we won't need the teleconference.
But if we're
George.
meeting in person at the parks, George, you don't have to be there. Yeah, we're gonna switch to the parks. We've done this in the past in the summer, and we wanted to get back to doing that, where people can come out to each and sit down and you know, meet with us in the person to person. And now that things are opening up, we can do that without too much. So that's what we're planning on doing for our next meeting. I believe we said car park. I have to check with Andrew, but I think that was the first one was going to be car park. Just in case it rained, we could go inside. And that was April 12th. So the 14th, if you want to use that for our cow meeting, that sounds good to me. We can go. Do you want to keep it at 7, or you guys want to move it up?
7.
Hey, no, 7.
Or, yeah,
7 works for you?
Carol, we don't
Okay,
need
we'll
to stop having.
stick with 7 then.
If we're getting that close, do we need it to not be a cow meeting? Do we need it to be a real meeting so we can vote on things, or no? It doesn't matter. I don't know. I've never done this before.
Well, the cow meeting is to formalize the budget, so it's not really a matter of, you know, voting on it. We just sit down and
Okay.
talk about where we're putting the money.
Okay, Carol, can you please then,
So we
if we're
can-
gonna do it, on the 14th, can you please reach out to Bob Miller and see if he's able to attend and join us and help us?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. And do we want to do that cow meeting also at CAR at 7?
Sure.
Since
Sure.
it's just the planning meeting, I would say that's the way to go.
Yeah, I think so, yep.
Keep it at CAR, and then hopefully later in the month we can switch to another park, and okay. Works for me. Moving on to the parks update. Amstead Park. The only thing I've got for Amstead, let me think. If I get for Amstead. Nothing much. We're going on the way it's been, I guess, at Amstead.
All right.
Um,
Hey, Carol, what about the burn?
Go ahead.
What about the burn? Isn't that
Yes,
coming
the
up?
burn, glad you mentioned that. The burn at Amstead is scheduled for the 31st. So I've got to get a sign out there to let people know that the park will be closed on the 31st. So,
In
which
case
is a
all the
little
fire
late
trucks
in the
don't
year.
tip them off.
Yeah, it's a little late in the year. We should actually have done this like in February. In fact, I had a meeting with the with our chief of chief, and he said probably this fall, like November or December, as soon as the ground is froze, he's going to try and get out there and do the other half. We're not going to burn the whole field. We're burning half of it, and then the other half will burn later in the year. That's all I've got for Amstead. Cars Grove, the only thing I have is picnic tables. I think I sent that on to you guys. Al was saying that for $50 a table, he knows somebody that can come out and sandblast those tables down if we want to go that route for repainting. So that was an email I just got today. I think I forwarded that on to you guys. I'm not sure. If not, I will. But Andrew said pretty much everything else he's put on hold until next meeting. Unless, did he talk with you, Chris, about anything? Or
No, nothing that he hadn't said to everybody.
okay. All right, Indian Creek.
Sandblasting. Chaz, Chance, that's
Yep.
your you do that kind of stuff, right? Does that sound like a good price, or I don't know what it costs. All right, yes, I don't know what it costs to get anything sandblasted. I usually just do it myself.
Yeah, no, we do it ourselves. That's a good price depending on what it is, and you're not going to be and you're depending on what he's going to do. If he's going to sandblast it, then no, that's a terrible idea, because it'll be like sitting on sandpaper. What sandblasting does is sand is throwing rocks at a surface and peening the surface. And if those tables are aluminum, which they are for the most part, and you sandblast them, you're going to peen the aluminum. So it'll be sitting on sandpaper. Same thing with the tops of them. If they're going to soda blast it or use some sort of soft media, then they'll strip it right off. They won't peen the surface and everything will be great. So it really depends on what they're doing. I wouldn't do it for $50. So that's not worth it.
Did you want to talk to
They
him?
don't-
I've got a phone number for him, Chad, because you know more about it than I do.
I'd like to see something on paper that says what they're going to do and what they're going to use and how they're going to do it and what it's going to cost. I like paper. I like seeing something. I like formal on something like that.
Yep.
Did you want to call him and get him to write something on paper then, instead, since I don't know what anything
whoever
about it.
Al reached out to. Did Al reach out to Andrew or you, Kara?
Well, Al was the one that reached out to me. He
Okay,
sent me an
then-
email, and then he's got this guy's phone number. So I don't know if Al
Right. Forward me
talked
the
to
email,
him
please.
or he called Al, but I got the information from Al.
Great. That's my specialty. I've actually been all over the world inspecting paint and sandblasting. So please forward me the email and I'll take care of it.
Will do. Thank you. All right. All right, Chaz. Indian Creek. Anything else?
No, nothing I can think of.
Okay. Parmalee? Aaron?
Parmalee, I met over there with the Bedford Select guys. They've got big plans, which are very exciting. Those guys seem like they're really on top of things. They're actually going to clear all the bad rock. It's kind of like not very good for sliding and other things. They're
Have
going
you
to clear
been
that
over
off
there?
the field.
You
Yeah.
have been over there. They were over there all Saturday. They cleared out over 20 ton of rock from the baseball.
Well, I met with them there. I guess, yeah, it was like, Thursday or whatever. So yeah, they got right out there apparently.
Yeah,
Wow.
they were over there all Saturday, and it already
they have.
is
Yeah.
incredible.
Wow. Well, I mean, they were.
Yeah, they have. I don't know if I'm going to spoil your great news, but yeah, one of their people messaged me saying they're getting 14 ton of slide safe rock brought in this week.
Yeah, they're doing all sorts of projects that we discussed, and it was positive. So those guys are doing good. And then I was there reviewing the signs, and we do have signs. But as I was there and noticing the traffic flow in the parking lot, it was like nobody's ever going to see these signs because of kind of how the traffic flows. It made me even think of maybe putting a median in there, and maybe even some of our other parking lots could use a median just to kind of help direct traffic flow. Because I don't know if you've ever been in Parmalee, it can kind of be like wild westish. Just like, I'm going to park here, I'm going to park there, I'm going to go wherever. And it's like, if we put a little median in there, it'd be like, good, drive around the median here, and we put the sign in the middle of the median, so that we're sure they're seeing the sign, because not everybody's seeing that sign. And then if a car parks in front of the sign, nobody's going to see the sign because a car parked in front of it, and that's where the cars park. So it's definitely a median, as we get our whole little development thing going. Signage in Parmalee could be improved, but it's there. The rules are posted. And I was going to check on that. So, yeah. Otherwise, all else is moving along.
All right. Sounds good. Samaria?
Samaria Park's looking good. Busy. Playground's busy. Baseball diamonds. A lot of people were there. Other than that, I've got nothing for there. I mean, I've been over at Samaria. I do want to circle back to Onstead, though. I had a resident message me today with complaints over there that I completely forgot about when we were talking about Onstead. She said there's a big issue with dog crap on the trail in multiple places. And then people with leashless dogs in Onstead Park. We have signs up Dogs gotta be on a leash. We have the dog bag waste stations there. I'm not sure, honestly, if it continues. I don't even know who to tell these residents. Like, what do we do at this point? Do animal control? Do we have ordinance? Have them call ordinance? Have them call non-emergency? Or do we? But eventually, what's going to happen? And I hope the people that are violating these rules are listening. They are going to get that park shut down to dogs. If this type of stuff continues there, because it's not. I get your dog's a nice dog and you want to let your dog run off of a leash, but just a few weeks ago we had somebody's dog off of a leash attack another person's dog. And it could happen at any time, and that's why we have these rules. It's not because we're mean people. It's because unexpected things happen, and we're trying to prevent that.
Yeah,
So,
Carol, I assume you can you just reach out to the sheriff's department and see if every once in a while they have a car that could go by and on their break maybe just take a walk, or we don't really have a park ranger, but if there's anybody who wants to just write tickets and collect fines.
Can we get a sign,
it seems
maybe?
like an easy way to make money.
we
There is a
have
sign out
signs.
There
are signs up there.
Sorry.
that the sheriff's department shouldn't be involved. I think it's an ordinance issue, and it should be our ordinance department going out there.
Oh, okay.
And there was a lady that complained. She was terrified. She said, of these big dogs that come charging at her when she's walking, and she walks every day out there at Amstead. And I gave her the number. I says, if you feel threatened, yes, call the sheriff's department. But I said, if you see them, off leash running around, call the ordinance department. They're the ones that can handle it. They can hand out the citations. They can, take it from there. We've got an ordinance that says the dogs have to be on the leash, so let's enforce. So I don't know. Maybe we can put a sign with that at the park. Maybe we should do that at all the parks. If you see dogs off leash, call this number. I don't know.
That's a good idea.
That might be an answer.
I was thinking a dollar amount fine, like $1,000 fine.
There's
Put it
something
right there.
there should be.
It does
Yeah,
have a
there
dollar
should be.
amount on it.
Yeah,
It
but
should.
Carol,
I don't see why
Carol,
not.
that's a great idea. We should do that rather than have everybody who walks those parks. Everybody's got a cell phone in their pocket. All they have to do is snap a picture of this thing or put it in their phone. If they see somebody off the leash, call. It helps everybody. There's no reason not to call and complain. Maybe somebody comes out and catches them. Maybe somebody doesn't. But you'll feel justified that you did something to try to help. And maybe the people who let their dogs off the leash will think about it. Until we build our new dog park where they can run free as nature intended.
Yeah.
So okay, who's gonna get how many signs do we need? One per park? Great.
No,
Thank
at
you.
least, one per park, maybe when you first come in. I don't know. But anyway,
Yep.
I'll check into that.
Awesome. Thank you, Carol.
Yep. All right, Wheeler. The only thing I've got for Wheeler is Chris and I walked it. We tried to get a trail back through the woods going. There's a couple of them there, but we need a little help with that. I did get some volunteers from Bedford Alliance Church. They plan on coming out on April 24th, which is a Saturday from 10 to noon. And they're going to concentrate on that trail cleanup. We're just going to try and go back through the woods, move what we can. Get some rakes. You guys are welcome to come and help us with that if you'd like.
What day was that again?
I'll be celebrating my birthday that day.
Hey.
What day was that? What day was that again? 23rd, I thought I heard?
April 24th. April 24th. From
Can you
10 to
email
noon
that?
at Wheeler.
Yeah.
Can you email all of that, Carol?
I will. I will email that to you.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
honestly,
They're
wouldn't
older.
hurt.
They're older folks. They're like in their 20s, kids. I mean, it's not kids, but it's older teens and 20s. So we should be able to get a lot of good help out of them.
The far western side of that trail, right as you start going down from the parking lot, I really think should probably have like a fence or some type of demarcation, because like those
We talked
backyards,
about that.
there's two backyards that are right there, and if you take a
We're
wrong,
not allowed to put any fences up.
Fencing.
yeah,
But we could put a sign.
We could put trees. We could put signs up, or we could. I was thinking, Carol, we could plant some white pines over there, native trees. Well, and eventually you won't see the houses, which would be nice for the park, and it also gives a definitive line. And on that note, at the northeast corner, somebody decided they were going to take it upon themselves to clear a section of the preserve and plant a number of spruce trees back there. Did a little bit of investigating myself after knocking on the first door, and had a good conversation with the guy, but he didn't like me knocking on his door, so I had the shit. So I had the sheriff. Well, I called the sheriff's non-emergency number, and they had somebody meet me over there, and we knocked on another door, and I believe I figured out who it is that's doing it. I don't say the name. I have not had a chance to read. I think there is a better to make both parties happy in the situation. Because it's not, it's a preserve, and yeah, they're planting trees, but the issue is they're planting non-native species in a preserve park. And they're doing it, from what I was told, to create a buffer between the park and their eventual home on the empty lot that they're doing it. So they just didn't want to lose their own yard doing it, so they decided they were going to clear part of the park and just plant a bunch of pine trees, spruce trees. So I just haven't had a chance to contact them, and I do intend to, and hopefully be able to get this turned in a better direction of, hey, maybe they want to still pay for the trees, but let's make sure we're directing them in the right manner. Trees themselves, I'm fine with that. It's just it's got to be done right. Yeah, to continue on back there, and obviously we need to make it a point that you can't just come onto a park property and start clearing stuff and doing whatever, because then you end up with a mess.
If you want me to go with you, Chris, I'll go with you when you see them again. I'm fine with that. You, me, and the sheriff.
I haven't seen them yet.
Yeah,
I
it's your
need to
part,
get
Carol.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want, I'll pass you the information that I found, because I haven't actually gotten to spoke to the person that's doing it. I haven't gotten to speak to them yet. So if you want, I will continue on until I make contact with them, and from there I'll pass it off to you, no problem, if you want.
Okay, we can do it that way, or you can have me go with you. I'll be glad to go with you.
Chris, just do it together.
Well,
Chris,
I'm going to call.
Together.
I'm not knocking on. Well, there's no house to knock on. I'm calling phone numbers at this point, but we can do it together. Okay. That's fine. So yeah, because I figured out I haven't been able to find that exact person, but I found the company that they own, and I planned on just calling the company and reaching them that way. So.
Okay. Well, let me know how that goes, and we'll go from there. All right. White Park.
Nothing new at White Park.
Nothing else at White. Okay.
Yeah, I was supposed to have had the price for the tennis courts, the budget for the tennis courts, so that I can write up the specifications, but I haven't seen that yet. I'm hoping to see it by the end of the week, so we can put that out for notice and get that bid and keep moving forward with that.
You mean basketball courts, right?
Basketball courts. Sorry, what did I say? Tennis courts?
Tennis courts.
Sorry,
yeah.
I do that a lot. Sorry.
That's all right.
It's late.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Comments from the public, George? Anybody else online? Go ahead and put that up. We'll see if anybody's listening. Oh.
Good.
Thank you, George.
Thanks, George.
Thanks, George.
All right, commissioners' comments. Aaron, anything else?
No, just Chaz. I'll be in touch. We got a few projects to work together. I'll text you in the next couple days.
Okay.
All right, Chris.
No, I mean, pretty good meeting. Got nothing, so just glad to be here still.
Okay, Chaz.
No, life is good. Hey guys, this is when we get this reservation system set up and running. This is going to be really cool. I mean, the more I get into it, the more things we can do with it, and it's just going to be like booking a hotel room. Click, click, click. I want these dates, these times. It takes your money. I mean, it's going to be slick. It's going to be cool.
What did you the LEO? Did you call it? Revival? What's the name?
Revise.
I thought I heard
Revize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Revise. That's right. Okay.
So
Cool. All right. Sounds good.
Yep,
The only
that's all
other
I
thing
got.
I've got is I'm looking forward to April 24th at Wheeler. That'll be really cool if we can get even a partial trail through those woods and get things cleaned up. That'll be really nice. Our next meeting then is April 12th at Cars Grove Park at 7. So it'll be us and whatever people out there want to come to the meeting. We'll have it outside in the pavilion if possible. If it's raining, we'll go inside the shelter. But other than that, I'm looking forward to that too, getting outside and talking to you guys instead of peering at a little screen. All right. Thank you, guys. I guess we should adjourn. Anybody want to make a motion?
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, guys. Okay, yes. Press the leave button as you leave, folks.